Alright guys, check it out. Brother Maynard here with another game for you. It was 3,000 points. My Beastmen returned to Hoth to defend it from some Tomb Kings. And then, like the earlier time I've played on this table. We're counting all the rivers as frozen, so they're all open ground. So starting on my left, as usual, I have two Razorgors. My Gore Horde that has my Battle Standard Bearer in it, and you can see I got a Doom Bull in that unit as well, and that's more or less just to protect him from the casket. And the Doom Bull's got a 1-up rerollable armor save. He gets to make an additional attack for every save he makes, and he's got the Always Strikes First sword and the other Trickster Shard. And then in front of that unit I have two units of Ungor Raiders. Over here I got my Herdstone with a chariot right in front of it. And then in the back I have 30 Gores bunkering my 3 level 1s. And actually I didn't intend to use that Gore unit as a bunker until I found out that the casket doesn't need line of sight. Because I originally was going to just hide my Shamans behind the Herdstone, but I have to bunker them up now, so that kind of sucks. In front of there I have my 40 best Gores with my level 4. They got the standard discipline, and my level 4 is actually my general in this game. So he's thrown out a leadership 9 bubble that way. So I figured I'd give that a go, try to get the combat power of the Doom Bull in there, just to see if it would work out. And then in front of there I have two more units of Raiders, and then 40 Ungors with full command, hand weapon, shield, and a Tuskor chariot. Okay, so he's got 40 Tomb Guard with Ramotap, who's the little bastard who gives him Frenzy and Hatred. And then he's got Necrosphinx with Archer Bunker at the back, that's got his Hierophant, who's a level 4. And then he's got his giant chariot unit, 10 chariots, I think, and he has the 2 black bases on the bottom right corner is Cetra, so he's giving Cetra a go. And then behind that kind of ice rock formation is his casket, which, like I said, doesn't need a line of sight. And he's got 2 units of Necropolis Knights. One of them has a rerollable armor save from Ramotep. So my opponent rolls up the first turn, and he just kind of moves everybody up like so. Yeah, not a whole lot to say there. Here's another picture. Here's the Beastmen, just kind of waiting the onslaught of the Tomb Kings. And then shooting, he doesn't really do a whole heck of a lot. I think I dispel the... he tries to get the multiple shots spell on his chariot unit, and I stop that. And then his casket, I think, kills an Ungor Raider. So on my turn, I move my pig and both pigs and my raiders up like so. That's the forest right next to the raiders is a wildwood, so I don't want my raiders in there. And everybody else, these 3 units of raiders just move up to kind of mess with his charge lanes and redirect his Tomb Guard and speed bump the chariots. And everybody else just kind of moves up a little bit. And here I just move my Ungor unit to just angle him this way. So that kind of rocky ice formation there is, we're calling that impassable. Alright, so here's how the board looks going into his next turn. Now my magic phase, I brought the Staff of Darkoth, which is a balance spell that does its magic missile, 5d6 strength 1 hits, and then I have the Hag Tree Fetish on my level 4, which allows me to reroll wounds inflicted in the magic phase against a certain unit. So I target the Necrosphinx with both those items and don't do anything to it, which sucks. And then my 1 unit of Raiders ends up taking a wound off of it with shooting, so that was pretty funny. But the Hag Tree Fetish and the Staff combo, I figured I'll probably drop that, because I figured if there's one situation where it'd be useful, it'd be high toughness, low save things like Sphinxes, and it was useless. So probably not going to take that again. Okay, so over here, in his next turn, He charges a unit of knights at this unit of raiders, and I flee the charge. He redirects into the pig and fails. Over here, his Necrosphinx charges. You remember I had a chariot in between my Gore Horde and the Bestigors. His Necrosphinx charges the chariot, panics it off, and then redirects into my other chariot, who passes his panic test. So that's nice. Yeah, here's the Sphinx and the chariot. And then, so in his magic phase, he has a pretty good run with the casket. He kills a couple Gores from both of my Gore units. And shooting is, he ends up killing a couple raiders with his shooting. And then in combat, the Sphinx fluffs its attacks against the chariot, who passes his break test. So I thought that was pretty funny. Okay, so my turn, I charge both my pigs into this unit, hoping to just knock them down to a little more manageable size. But in hindsight, that was actually really stupid. I'm basically just throwing away my pigs. So that was really, really dumb. I don't know why I did that. But it was the first mistake of many that I made in this game, so yeah. Make note. Okay, so you can see I rallied my raiders and just kind of shuffled the Gore Horde off the hill. I pulled the Doom Bull out. I'm going to send him to go after the Necropolis Knights, and the Gore Horde is going to go after the chariots. And then over here, reform the Ungors to help out with the Necrosphinx combat. And then my 2 units of raiders, I take them up there by the Tomb Guard, because he's got frenzied Tomb Guard. So I'm going to redirect him right into that impassable terrain with the raiders if he charges them, and then I'll be able to get him in the flank with the best scores. And then you can see in front of the chariot unit, I have 2 surviving raiders from that unit. They've taken a little bit of shooting and maybe some casket, but I'm just moving them to speed bump the chariots. Here's another picture of the raiders and the Tomb Guard. Okay, so in my magic phase, I get the curse off on the chariot unit, so that'll be real nice. I think he manages to stop everything else. And then over here in my shooting phase, one of my Ungor units kills a Tomb Guard. So yeah, one of my Ungors is on fire. He's putting wounds on Sphinxes and killing Tomb Guards. He's a sniper. Alright, so in combat, the Sphinx breaks my chariot and reforms like so. So in his next turn, he'll be able to charge my raiders and scare them away. So that kind of sucks. Yeah, so in combat, his Necropolis Knights just slaughter both my pigs. So, like I said, that was really stupid of me. I basically just threw my pigs away. So I was kind of pissed at myself for doing that. Yeah, so over here, his Necrosphinx charges the smaller unit of raiders, panics them, and they flee through the Tomb Guard, and then he redirects into the other unit of raiders who pass their test. So that was real nice. Those Necrosphinxes are a real tough kind of issue for Beastmen to handle, because they're they're flying terror causers, so they're really good. Actually, the whole Tomb King army is very good in general at taking care of my chaff units. So yeah, like I was saying, he's got his flying terror causing Necrosphinx. He's got the casket, which does real well, and then he's also got his bowmen that don't suffer modifiers to hit. So anyway, yeah, Necrosphinx panics away the raiders and redirects into the other unit. And then over here, the Necropolis Knights end up charging this unit of raiders, and they're going to be able to overrun out of my charge arc. So that was really stupid. And then in his shooting or magic, he ends up getting rid of these 2 raiders. I mean, which is fine, but really my big mistake is I think I was using all my chaff correctly, but where I went wrong was I wasn't following up with my hordes, and really that's what I should have done. I should have thrown my chaff in his face to just kind of mess up all his charge lanes, and just kind of keep him on the back foot, and then followed up with my big stuff so that I'd have some charges to declare in the following turns, and really kind of took the fight to him. But instead, I just kind of sent my chaff out there to get slaughtered for no reason. So that was, yeah, really, really stupid. And then also in his shooting phase, his Hierophant's unit kills one of these guys. And then another mistake, I reform. I don't like the idea of this Necropolis Knight unit running around in my backfield, so I reform my Gores to go handle them. And then also my Doom Bull failed his Frenzy test to see if he had to charge. So yeah, he failed that. Only leadership 8 with a reroll. So he's got to charge the other unit, Necro Knights, and just fails. So yeah, that sucks. Okay, so over here, Ungors end up charging the Necrosphinx. After he kills off, he kills off the raiders and reforms like so. So he gives me a flank. So that'll be nice. He won't be able to fly around and cause any more mayhem. I don't charge with the Bestigors. Actually, I think I end up moving him a little further back because in his previous magic phase, he ends up casting the +1 attack spell on his Tomb Guard. So there's no way in hell I'm going anywhere near him. Well, I got that. Plus, that that would have left ample opportunity for him to flank me with the chariots, and so yeah. In hindsight, by reforming my Gores like that to go after that stupid knight unit, I kind of hung my Bestigors out to dry here. So against these, they're facing both the chariots and the Tomb Guard, so I had to pull them back. So yeah, just word of advice: this is not how you play Beastmen. I need to be aggressive, and I'm playing like an elf this game. So alright, yep, so here's my Bestigors looking at the chariots. They remember what happened last time, and they're scared of that unit. So magic phase ends up going okay, though. I end up getting a wild form through on the Ungors. It's not going to make them kill that thing any easier, but it'll help them. It's only strength 5, so being toughness 4 will really help tone down the damage that thing's going to do. Yeah, I think I end up getting the curse through on the chariots again. Basically, his chariots spend the entire game cursed, so it's awesome. And then so in his turn, he reforms the Tomb Guard. The Ungors end up putting a couple of wounds onto the Necrosphinx. And so now he's getting kind of nervous that they're going to kill that thing, so he reforms his Tomb Guard like so that I won't be able to charge him in the flank after I kill the Necrosphinx. And over here he just kind of inches forward a little bit. And then he reforms these guys and moves them half their movement back. So he tries to get make the distance as big as possible, so I'll possibly fail that charge. And then in his shooting and magic, he manages to kill these two raiders. Now for magic, I don't remember what he ended up getting through. He's I think he might have put a ward save onto the chariots of the Tomb Guard or something like that, give him an extra attack or something. I don't really remember, but I know he got some stuff through. Yeah, so over here he ends up winning the combat, but Ungors are steadfast, leadership 9, because I moved my general over so that they'd be in the bubble, and yeah, so he wins the combat and decides to at first he decided to move his Sphinx like this, but then he just moved him. He decided not to reform because that would cut off the Tomb Guard from wheeling around him. And then over here, so in my turn, I end up charging with my Gores on the Necropolis Knights, and so hoping to get rid of them. And oh, yeah, that reminds me, he gets the +1 attack spell on the Tomb Guard again, so I'm not going anywhere near him with the Bestigors. So here's how things are looking. I ended up taking the Doom Bull into the Chariot unit, which was also a huge mistake. He really needs to be fighting that Necropolis Knight unit for two reasons. Number one, Cetra's going to come looking for him, and number two, the Necropolis Knights have a nice juicy charge arc on my Gores. So, yeah, like I said, I'm just playing this game like crap. I'm making so many stupid mistakes, and I'm trying to do this kind of cautious dance around thing that Beastmen really just aren't good at. I really should have followed up on all my chaff, you know, being aggressive and just wild formed all my guys up and just beat the piss out of them, but that's not what I did at all. And yeah, I didn't even keep my leadership bubble together. My army's all over the place. My battle standards on this side of the field, my generals all the way on the other, and now my Gores are about to get flanked. So this is just a disaster. I'm easily my own worst enemy in this game. So here's another cool picture, I guess, of my Doom Bull trying to take on the entire Tomb King army by himself. I think combat over here. Yeah. He ends up, I couldn't do anything to him. These are the guys with the rerollable armor save, so couldn't do anything to him. The Sphinx doesn't fare so well, though. My young Gores end up killing him. So kind of a very ignoble end for the Necrosphinx. Okay, yeah, you can see over here in this combat, I didn't manage to kill any of his knights. I think I got 1 or 2 wounds through, and he took off my back rank, and now I'm about to get flank charged, so this is just horrible. This combat really didn't go any better. He ends up challenging with Cetra, so I have to move all the way over here. My Doom Bull's got a 1-up rerollable save for protection, but Cetra doesn't allow armor saves. So we each do a wound to each other, and he ends up winning the combat by 1. Yep, so that sucks. So here's how things are looking going into his next turn. Yeah, his that buff on the Tomb Guard will expire in his next magic phase. So they're not going to have that extra attack, so at least that's good. And then you can see, like I said, he's got a really gorgeous flank charge with his other unit, Necropolis Knights, into my Gores. Which he gets, obviously. And then I don't know what I'm showing up here, except maybe how hopeless this situation is. It's important to note that his chariots are still cursed, though. And then he gets the Tomb Guard charge into my Bestigors. So that'll be fun. It does open up the possibility, though, that if my Doom Bull miraculously survives the turn and is still in combat, I'll be able to bring the young Gores in to help him out. I think that's like a 13-inch charge, so it's not completely out of the realm of possibility for the young Gores. So, and if I can get some ranks and a flag in there, that'll help my chances tremendously. Not to mention it'll stop that unit in its tracks till I can figure something out. In his magic phase, he I don't remember what he does. I think he casts a ward save on the chariots in order just to regrow a wound that I caused from my impact hits, and then he throws this Skullstorm Vortex thing at my Ungors, but that's where it lands. Here's my Ungors just laughing at him. And I think he tried, his Hierophant's unit tried to shoot the Ungors as well and didn't do a single wound. So that's nice. So in combat, yeah, you can see my Doom Bull lost combat again, and he gets broken and ran down. But the chariots are cursed, so he ends up losing 6 chariots to the curse. Or not 6, I wish. He ends up losing 4 chariots to the curse. And my opponent's one of those guys who doesn't think that open ground counts as terrain. So if you guys know a good, I have a link for a good debate on that on one of the forums on this spell. Just go ahead and throw it into the comments section. So I know he'll see it eventually, just so he doesn't have to go looking for it. But anyway, we decided to play it my way for the for this game at least. Okay, so over here, my Bray Shaman, Ramotep had the extreme misfortune of being in base contact with my level 4 at the beginning of the combat, so my level 4 just snatches up the little bastard and tears him apart. So his Tomb Guard lose. That happens at Initiative 4, so they lose Hatred and Frenzy. So they don't do a whole lot of damage to the Bestigors, and in return the Bestigors just wreck them. You know, he started the turn with 40, and now he's down to 13, so that's awesome. Real good showing by the Bestigors there. And then so in my turn, my Bestigors are looking at getting flanked by the Chariots, so I just throw my I have to sacrifice one of my Shamans because I just threw away all my chaff earlier. So I move him out in front of Cetra's unit to speed bump him, and then I try to charge the Ungors into the Chariots, but they fail to charge, of course. So that's how things are looking at the beginning of my next turn. This unit, I reform him and swift reform him, move him through the gap to kind of help me take down Cetra's unit, and then I pull these two wizards out, which puts them at risk of being killed by the casket, but you know, yeah, it's really not much safer in that unit that's going to be fighting the Chariots. So yeah, and then over here, this is just looking as bleak as ever. You can see that unit's dwindling pretty fast, and I have no help anywhere near them, so they're just gonna, yeah, they're not gonna make it. Okay, so over here, I end up getting a wild form off on the Bestigor unit, so that's nice. So that makes them toughness 5, so that'll help cut down on some of the damage the Tomb Guard do. But really, probably the most important dice roll of the game, he has both those guys attack my my level 4, and he gets a killing blow, and I miss my ward save. So yeah, my level 4 disappears, and basically I think that was my chances of winning this game actually died with him, because I think with now I can't stop his Hierophant, but if I had those 4 levels of beast magic to help me out, I think I really could have really pulled him through, even after losing my gore unit. But anyway, so yeah, like I said, game-changing dice roll there, killing blow on level 4. But at the end of the combat, Bestigors eat the Tomb Guard and reform like so. Yeah, the Gores break, they get Battle Standard gets run down, and both the Necropolis Knight units pursue off the table. Okay, so in his turn, he charges the Chariots into the flank of the Shaman. I know this charge wasn't really done correctly. There's no way he could end up looking like this after one 90-degree wheel and one wheel to close the door, but I wasn't going to be picky at this point. So anyway, he charges like that, and my Shaman miraculously survives all of the impact hits, and he actually makes Cetra take a ward save in the combat, so that was pretty nice. But he doesn't make it. I don't think I come back to this combat with my pictures, but he doesn't make it. And then the casket, he tries to zap this wizard with the casket. He's leadership 7, but I rolled up a 5 and 2-1, so he lives with no harm done. And then the casket fails to bounce, so that's pretty awesome. And then so in my turn, I just take all 3 of these units into his chariots, and then I cast the big miasma and drop their initiative by 3, I think. Now, actually, it says in the Tomb King book that with my Will Be Done, that they always use the Tomb King's unmodified weapon skill. So we interpreted that as you can't drop it with miasma. So that kind of sucks. So that's worthy of note if you play against Tomb Kings a lot. So anyway, yeah, I take all these units into the fight here, and yeah, here's how the board is looking. I think this is the last turn of the game. So yeah, I mean, if I could beat that unit, you know, it might be a draw. But here's the end of the combat. I think the Gores, you know, failed. I think the Gores failed Primal Fury. The Ungors failed Primal Fury and Fear, and then my best of Gores passed both. And so Gores really didn't do a whole lot. Ungors didn't do anything, and the best of Gores pulled Cetra out of his chariot and got the bastard. So anyway, so that's the end of the game. A horrific loss to the Beastmen. Didn't play him well at all. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the game, even though it was a disaster. I'll catch you guys later.